How are you? Welcome to the Artsy Knitter. I'm your host, True, and you will have noticed that on my Ravelry profile I have changed the name, my Ravelry name, to the Artsy Knitter because I figured it's just much easier instead of True Dolly. When I started my account, I didn't know what Ravelry was and how it worked, so I just picked a quick name for sign in that I use from another hobby, which is doll collecting. And I am not going to show all of that on my podcast until somebody asks me. So, welcome. So, just call me True. That's T-R-U without an E. Anyway, ramblings. True ramblings. That is the segment for right to begin with. We're starting with gratitudinous. Gratitudinous is the theme in this segment. I want to start by saying gratitudes. Thank you so much, the very first podcaster to give us a shout out, and us I mean as me and little one, the duo that is the Artsy Knitter. A shout out, a little tiny shout out on her Instagram, not on her show, but on her Instagram, and I am super grateful. Her name, her Ravelry name, is the hot ass, ASS knitter. And it's also the same name on her Instagram. But her podcast is called Positively Knitting. And she shares little positive things or thoughts at the end of her knitting. She does a lot of crocheting. And I started off, when I brought myself back into knitting, I started off with crocheting again because I thought it was faster. And so, her bringing me back into that a little bit is really, really good. So maybe you'll see more of that. But thank you so much. You are the first one. I love that this community is very supportive and nobody's like, oh, and she has this many and none of that. Support. Love. Yeah. Anyway, so that leads me to also gratitudinous to the new Artsy peeps in the groups. Hi Artsy peeps, thank you for joining. I want to say thank you to first person to put their name, write an intro in the intro board, which is in the group, is Simply Me 5252. Girl, thank you. Look at you now. You're the first to post. And then there is, I want to say it's CT Hull Loves Me. I'm probably playing it wrong. I'm sorry. Miss Lady, I am sorry. If you ever see me write and I go Miss Lady, I'm not reprimanding. It's like a slang. Miss Lady, what you doing? Stuff like that, right? Anyway, you two were the first. So, positively knitting, giving me props. Fist pump. Now, I'm not jumping on a couch, okay, people? I am not Tom Cruise, but I had to get a fist pump in there. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to see another reason why I'm going to give a fist pump. But let's keep going for a second here. We also want to say thank you to Knit Demon and Kinky Boots. Kinky Boots, where you get that name, buddy? Okay, anyway. And to, I want to say it's Nakia, Nikia. These guys were the beginning. In March 26th, we were at 18. Then, I want to say Deb C. Quilts and Joy Harmond and Miss Handmaiden got us up to 21. These are just Ravelry names. I didn't get permission for any other names. And then by April 5th, we were at MAWRE. And now, in the last couple of days, we're at 26 members. And I want to say it's Sonote Stein. Then there's Hot Ass Knitter, join the group. CC Carey and other fist pump for all you guys, including this young lady I'm about to say, Juniper Grace. Fist pump. Huh. I'm like, I'm very excited. I just love Juniper. We are total Junipers, Ava and I. So we're very, very grateful that you came by and you had time to watch our show and join a group. And she also did an intro. Now I know some of you are not really into doing intros. You know who I'm talking to. You know the people who are like, not really, that's okay. It's alright. Yeah, that's alright. So yeah, we got into Juniper. She's one of the podcasts, the second podcast that we recommend besides Positively Knitting. And her name is Juniper Grace. And if you go on YouTube, you put in Juniper Grace Tube. And then she's Juniper Grace on Instagram. And I actually was like, I know Ava loves the Feist song 123, and I kind of like put it in the comments, and she totally saw it and totally dedicated a song in her 9th episode to Ava. I mean, it was for both of us, but that's okay. I'm not upset. I get the impression she just thinks it's for Ava. But anyway, yeah, Ava was so excited. She was like, wow, Mom, that's never happened, and la la la. She was I'm so grateful that you brought giggles and smiles and a shocked face to my child. You don't even understand. You are a rock star. So, we're both Canadian, and I have my show notes, so I'm trying to be, on top of it. And she's into this pen pal thing, and I'm really excited about that. So Ava and I are going to be sending her a postcard. Now, it's not that exotic to be sending from Toronto, but we're going to make ours handmade. And that's going to be maybe a little bit more interesting because we're both in Canada. So, but, And I like the whole pen pal thing because I had a really bad experience when I was younger. Like a little girl, I had a Japanese pen pal, and all of a sudden, after a couple of months, he just stopped writing. I don't know. Maybe I said something wrong, or I don't know what happened. I think I have some suspicions, but we won't talk about that. You can always ask me when you meet me or something. But I was, heartbroken. Seriously. You know how much I'm into Japanese things. I've mentioned that in my intro. And I think I had this funny thing that I'm trying to get rid of, this issue or anxiety about mailing things. I feel like if I mail it out and they don't write back or they don't, I don't know, that I feel rejected, or I don't know, my mom was just having this major thing, what is with you and mailing? You've never mailed me anything to Halifax. You always manage to get it when somebody's going to come visit me or when I'm here, but you never quite mail anything to me. I'm like, I know. I don't know what the issue. I'll get over it. This pen pal thing is going to be perfect for that. So, so we're going to do that with her, and that's going to be really fun. And then the other podcast that we're into is the Dark Matter Knits. Her name is Elizabeth, and she is awesome. I just think I was listening to the Knitting Pipelines audiocast. Now, I've not been into audiocast before because I'm a very visual person, and that's why I prefer video casts, but Paula is you're not feeling like you're losing out. So that's one of the audio ones that I listened to, and she recommended Dark Matter Knits. So right away I went over there to check it out, and she's awesome. She does tutorial videos at the end. She's making a living in the field, as a designer, knitwear designer, working at Cooperative Press. I just think that that's amazing. I'm actually trying to leave that whole corporate thing, or not leave, but I was in it, and I don't want to go back there. And so I'm really inspired by her. So we'll see what I can learn. But yeah, you're going to get something unique. Now, I just want you to be aware that her podcast is every 2 weeks, but it's worth the wait, okay? So I love that. She was also saying in the episode 4 that she was talking about teaching people about being brave with their knitting. And that segues into what I always say at the end of my videos, knit like a rock star. Now, the rock star thing is different for everybody. So you don't know what that means for you. It's about finding out what that is. It looks different for everyone else. And it's also why I talk about fashion when I talk within my podcast, and why I have images at the end of every podcast with fashion examples of how to rock your knits. If you're going to take the time to get the right yarn and needles, and it has to be cashmere and this and that, and then put it on with oh my gosh, you're gonna hate me, but I had to say it. Like, yeah, I don't know, like multicolored socks up to your knees and Birks, or I don't know, whichever. Maybe you could rock that and still be hot. I don't know. I'm just saying, I want to give you another perspective. Now, you might say in this moment, excuse me, who told you you were a fashion, like, diva police? Like, why should I listen to you? You don't know my life. I'm 65, or I'm 20, or I'm 82, or I live in such and such. I'm active, or I don't wear girly things. Like, I'm willing to really write down what it is I wanted to express to you guys about that. I'm sharing my advice. It doesn't mean that everything I share is exactly gospel, like the absolute for you. It just means it's just another perspective. My hope is that you're going to be a fun, fearless female when you, or male, I know there's some male knitters out there, and you need to let me know you're there or you're watching the podcast in order for me to like start extending some male advice on like clothing options and so forth. So you gotta ding ding ding. So, and I want you to just be open to new ideas, rock your knits with confidence. My history in fashion is why I'm bringing this to the podcast. That's my background. I've been in fashion, the industry, for many years. I've worked as an assistant designer, like not assistant designer, but an assistant to a designer. I've worked in retail. I started off one of my first jobs was a management position in a high-end retail store. Now, being super young, like I'm talking 19, it was because my mom had to come out of that position. The company was closing in a 6 months to a year or something, and they wanted her to have the stability to find another position. So I took over her management position. But then after that, I could take on management roles going forward. So it was perfect for me. And I learned a lot from some of these companies. I've been in fashion in different industries. I teach runway, about just building confidence when you walk, but also teaching actual professional models to walk down the runway. So, and the list goes on. I can get into that another time if somebody asks me a direct question, but I'm just saying that I've been around fashion all my life. My mom's a designer. She's an interior designer now, but she used to make bespoke suits for the Canadian diplomats in Jamaica. Like, their wives were there, and they were like, this is a new place and my suits don't work here and it's hot. And so she made things according to who they were now or where they were living now. And just take what I have to say with maybe, not all of it, with a grain of salt. And ask questions. And I can address them as best as I can. And if there's anything I don't know exactly, I will go and I'll ask, do a little like survey or something and then come back with my findings. So that's what I'm doing. I'm also bringing that fashion and that art to the knitting that I do, and maybe sharing ideas to you. All right, so that's that, and that also quickly I want to put it out there that maybe somebody could maybe open a board and let me know if you have taken a crafty class. The Fit to Flatter, or if you've enjoyed The Little Red in the City. I'm looking through that book right now, and I'm excited to learn, and I would love to hear people's experiences with both one versus the other, or, just stuff like that. Going into, still within ramblings, I just wanted to show this because it's a stash. The stash blossoms. That's what that would be called. People say stash enhancements. I don't know what this person's trying to do to me, but they decided to give me 100% cashmere donated to me, the podcast, and I just think it's called Jade Sapphire Exotic Fibers Mongolian Cashmere 2-ply. Holy macaroni! It is the colorway is 128 Glacier Ice. Can't speak. Glacier Ice. And I think it's jadesapphire.com. is the website that's set on here. It's definitely all hand wash, but it's 400 yards. Now I need a little bit more for the. Let me see if you see it. It's like a beautiful dusty white blue with baby blue, just like, or fresh powder almost. I don't even know how to say it, but it's a beautiful, beautiful color. Blue's my favorite. But I think I need to find, I don't know what other yarn is going to couple with this to extend so that I can make a shawl. So that's why I'm showing it on the podcast today. If anybody can recommend, let me see if I can get this to focus, recommend another yarn that I can do with this, like put together, that's in like an icy gray blue or something like that, so that it doesn't have to match perfectly. I want it to be like a gray, maybe at the top of the shawl, and then midway, halfway through, I'll start merging this in almost to create a gradient, and then by the time you get to the, past this much of the middle, it'll be all this. So I want one yarn to grow into the other, you know what I'm saying. So that's my stash blossom. So I need some advice on that. And I really need some advice on that. Like, seriously, I need some advice. I don't know what this person's doing to me. Gave that to me, and I'm like, what am I gonna... So anyway, right into the whippies right away. I wasn't sure if I would have a lot to talk about today because nothing is finished, okay? I only have whippies, and also, I'll tell you. So this is our whippy section, works in progress. Let's start with the Holden shawl. Now, I know everybody and their mama is doing the shawl, but I needed, this is where I'm at already. I didn't start it that long ago, but I have been knitting like a demon on this. It's on 4mm needles. It's by Mindy Wiltz, and I'm doing it in Barocco Folio. Now, in my local yarn store, this is a new yarn. I was looking for the label, but, oh. Oops. And it is 65% superfine alpaca and 35% rayon. 119 yards. And it's very, very good price because I am on a yarn fast is what I call it. Not even a yarn diet. You know, with a diet, you're still eating things. I'm on a fast. So anyway, I love this. If you're into mohair and you're kind of like, oh my god, the hairs, this still has this nice soft halo to it that maybe it could replace mohair when you're knitting or something like that, but it would be thicker. Now this looks really, really thin. I don't know if you can see how thin that is. I'm wondering if this is going to blossom when I block it, because it says it's DK, and to me it's as thin as lace, or at least somebody was saying when you see it listed on Ravelry it comes up as DK, but it ain't DK, not to me. Alright, then I have also the Obsidian, which is also known as Date Night Sweater, that I'm doing. I have gotten to this point. I think you've seen it at this point. I haven't touched it any further because I'm getting some help with it, some very specific modifications. So I want to wait until, sorry, it's hair, till I get together with her. But to go forward. But the Holden shawl, by the way, is $6. And this Obsidian is by Lisa Mooch, and it's $7. I did it in the Arcania from Chile. I showed it to you previously. This delicious colors. It has a predominantly blue feel to it, but you start off at 6mm needles and then go to a 4 for the body. I will give you a quick peek again to show you what it looks like so you can get a good feel for... Oh, why do I do this? I've got to show you what the Holden. Everybody knows what the Holden shawl looks like, so I'm just giving you a quick peek because I have everything all like lined up in order so that I can. But this is what made me want to do the obsidian. Look how gorgeous that off the shoulder look, and then boom. If you don't want it to be off the shoulder, you can have it all like, you know, a little bit more serious. But it is body fitting, very body conscious. So, you know, it's up to you if that's going to be your kind of thing. So the next, there's lots more things I want to talk about, and we're at 20 minutes already. Oh my gosh. Spoiled for choices. See how long it is? Oh my goodness. It's taking forever. I'm literally at the last, you do 5 repeats, and then the 6th one, you just do half of it. So I'm right at that point now. So I'm going to be finished. The next episode, basically, this will be a ta-da, like a finished object. So, like, basically, amen for that. Then, I need more hats. I love blue. I tried the Molly hats. Something about the way that they wrote the pattern, I need some help with figuring it out. It's not connecting in my mind for some reason, so I just moved on to something else. I love slouchy hats, so what I did was I chose the star-crossed slouchy and barrette by Natalie Larson. We have a sip of water, you know, a young lady gets thirsty. And I'll show you what that looks like here. There we are. You can always check out the pattern yourself. The show notes will be there to show you. Let me quickly show you as well that there's like some major cabling going on. Okay? So what I'm doing it in is I pulled this out, this yarn, poor yarn. I'm doing it in the Barocco. Let me get back to my show notes here. The Barocco, this is the Barocco Vintage, and let's see here. It is Barocco Vintage, the Kingfisher colorway. Very, very blue, gorgeous. You start off with 6, I think, millimeter, and then you go to 8. It's a free pattern, so it's just like, it's like the world of whippies in my house, yo. Like, what's going on? I don't even understand. So, because of that, sorry, it came off camera. I decided that I was going to show you my UFOs, unfinished objects, but I also call it the Hall of Shame. Okay? So, the first pattern I really got excited about, but then I love seed stitch. But knitting seed stitch in white is a little bit, I don't know, stressful, I think. I can't, if you mess up midway, oh God, pull my eye out. I had to put like, okay, first, calm down. This is called the Joan of Arc by Saskia de Frigita. I am totally botching her last name, I'm sure, but at least I knew how to say Saskia. And it's $5 for this pattern. I'm doing it in Barocco. I know it's all Barocco. This episode should be called Barocco, but it's in Barocco Peruvia Quick. So it's like their chunky line, and it's the Blanco color, 10 millimeter. Now, it was epically cold in Canada. This is the worst winter we've had in a long time. So I got gifted this pattern, and I was like, oh my God, this thing will block out the wind. When I show you how gorgeous this is, you'll be like, why is it you haven't finished that yet? Like, what is your problem? Are you, like, look how gorgeous this is. It's like a snood, a shawl, a hoodie, thingy-madooey, something another, all in one. Now, I didn't want it in brown. And then I was told that maybe it's not a practical idea to have it in white. I was like, excuse me? I want it in white. What is people tell? I want it in white, okay? Maybe it's not practical, But that's if I'm going to be wearing it like 500 times or like every day or something and then get it all dirty. They were like, it's not practical because, you know, black girls, you got hair grease and your skin and your makeup. And I'm like, how much makeup do you think I put on? I barely wear makeup. I mean, for the podcast, for you guys, I have a little red lipstick and some mascara. But, like, come on. Seriously? Anyway, I'm sorry. I had to rant there for a minute, telling me about it. Can't do it in white. But anyway, I can't do it in white because the seat stitch is driving me crazy. I never thought that I would be podcasting and my phone would go off. Like, really? I'm always like, what? Turn your phone off. And I usually put it on vibrate. So we're going to see if we can ignore that. But this is how far I've gotten. You start knitting at the bottom there, and then you go up and join together, I guess, in the round is how you put it. And then I need to build the other part that I'm able to put over my head. That's what's missing. So I've been knitting like a couple rows at a time because it's not mindless. I think the white is what's driving me. Anyway, that's Hall of Shame number 1. Then there is, this is supposed to be a diva knit along with some friends at my local yarn store. It is on needles. Hall of Shame. Did I mention Hall of Shame? So this is the Pendulum Shawl by Amy Miller. I'm all about polka dots and stripes. You're going to hear me say that so many times. You're going to be like, yeah, I got it. Bear with me. There's newbies that watch the show, I think. Okay, so I was like, okay, stop. Pause. I'm doing this pendulum shawl in sweet fiber cashmere lace. Ooh, girl, this thing is so soft. You don't even understand. I'm doing I don't know what colorways these are, but like it's like a charcoal gray, and then this gorgeous, bright, vibrant, it feels like a blue popsicle or like a turquoise, but really light turquoise. Okay, so I'll show you the tag. This yarn seems to be really hard to get. Sweet fiber. Awesome. It is 75% merino, 15% cashmere, 10% silk. It's 372 yards. And that's Something Blue is the colorway that I'm doing. And I'm telling you, newbies who are watching, you're going to think, what's the big deal? Keep the tags for every single thing you do. Charcoal is the other colorway that I did. So I want to pick this shawl back up. It's in the Hall of Shame right now, but it won't stay there, people. That's why I'm showing you. Because if I show you, then you'll be like, excuse me, when are you going to knit that thing? So in my projects right now, it's like, you know how you can put put a project to sleep instead of having it sit at the top where the whippies are? Yeah, I put that bad boy to sleep. The last in my Hall of Shame, unfinished objects, is the Take Me to New York. I'm all about New York, guys. I used to live there. By Champagne Maker. I'm like, is that her real name? Maybe she just wanted to have a fancy, I don't know. Made in Madeline Tosh Chunky, black velvet on 6mm. I got obsessed with black velvet. Another time next episode I'm going to show you the hat I made, a beautiful cable hat. But this yarn is like charcoal gray and this gorgeous, I want to say, it's not burgundy. It's like a magenta plum color. So imagine a fuchsia and a plummy purple made a baby. Yeah. So, ooh, that ball just fell. Okay, so when you're doing this pattern, look at this. I'm not sure if now I'm starting to think, I'm not sure if I like the way the yarn is pooling in this particular pattern. I think I got a little too skippy-scappy, wanting to do this yarn in something. You have to be careful when you're doing the Take Me to New York, and I'll show you quickly what that looks like. I knitted it in the round. The pattern says knit it flat. I can see why that would make sense now, but anyway, I did it. But she does it with like chunky yarn and then a novelty yarn for the drop stitches. I wasn't sure if I was digging that, but I'll show you. This is her just sitting. I don't know if that's her, but the designer, but it's supposed to be thin at the top and then bell at the bottom of the sleeve. I didn't get that. So I think what I'm going to do is frog the heck out of this and start again or do another project. Like, I'm not going to waste this Madeline Tosh because it ain't cheap. Okay, people? But if you do it and then you knit, like say you're like, I'm going to knit it in round 2. If you go too far, it's this very springy yarn. If you make the back too long, like if you go off track from the pattern, like I did, it makes your drop stitches not line up. And so instead of doing the novelty yarn, I just did the drop stitches in the actual yarn itself. So, I don't know. I have to figure out what else I can make out of this that I'm going to like the pooling. Do you know what I'm saying? So feel free to jump on the boards and give me your opinion. I'm open. I really am. All right. Now we are almost at the tail end of things. This is going to go a little bit. But this is a segment, I should say, called What You Talking About, Willis? So, those of you who have seen The Different Strokes, it's an American television sitcom that aired on NBC from 78 to 85. That is what you talking about, Willis? That's my section for, like, what the heck is going on? Now, this pattern, I'm not saying this pattern is bad. What I'm going to tell you right now is that I knit these fingerless gloves. They are so big because I have alien hands. They're so tiny. They're like spider finger. I don't even know. I knit this thing in this gorgeous corgu. It was so cute. Let's show you. I'm going to show you hot mess what's going on. Look at this. It's just like... you guys saw my gratitude staghorn mitts that I just made, right? That's why they're called gratitude mitts. They actually fit me. So, I say all this to say, designers, please put measurements, I'm begging, put measurements of the hand that you made the pattern based on so that we, the knitters, can easily adjust this pattern and make it work for us. So I'm going to frog them because I'm not wasting this, okay? This is done in koigu. I'm not wasting it, yo. I'm going to start again. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you joining us for True News. What we're having today is the first section, Truly Recommended. So we're going to talk about the trends that are happening in society. And I don't know if it's trends, but we want to say, well, True has recommended these fresh summer ideas. Now, I do this because I cannot get knits so fast. Like, I can't knit everything like this. So that's why I have a truly recommended section. Right? I can't squeeze it all in. So it doesn't mean you have to knit it. It might mean you knit it and you're like, girl, that pattern is... Tell me. But it's a style option. Sometimes having style options are great. I'm knitting this for the summer, if I can fit it in between cows. It's called The Mercury by Heather Dixon. Now, Heather Dixon is part of the Army of Knitters. And this has a sleek look. The design stands out. You can also do it with a color pop through it. And I was thinking I would love to do it in a bronze. Maybe like Sidar yarn has a metallic yarn that works really well. Or maybe you could do it in neon or white if you want a fresh, crisp edition with leggings or shorts. And then you can add a black or bright tank top underneath. The pattern's $7, and it could complement different juicy sizes. You know what I'm saying? Woo, yeah. So that's my truly recommended. Now on to the next part of our news would be the fashion spotlight. We would like to report that Fall/Winter 2011 for London Fashion Week, Chris Kane takes the colored crochet blanket and makes it center stage. He's printing on black leather shirts and jackets, pencil skirts, dresses, cardigans, which just makes you want to touch it because you're thinking, that looks like a granny square or blanket, but it's leather. I just can't even... Like, just the combination is, like, really, like, crazy, right? So, that means you can think of textures in a different way. I wanted to bring it up. Now, if you're thinking, okay, Christopher Kane, I can't afford, what? Unravelry. This was the closest thing I found. If you go to my blog, I will have a link. It's called the Monochromatic Granny Square Skirt by Claire Montgomery. You know, podcasting, would you know that, like, it was going to be like, oh, I have to pronounce these. Oh. I love you guys. I'm sorry. I am not trying to botch your names. Feel free to correct me. It was inside the Inside Crochet, issue 37, January 2013. So the link will be on my blog and my show notes. You got to go there to check it out. And as we wrap up for our 2 news, at the end I will put a few images, including the Christopher Kane part of the collection or a few image here and there. And you can see how maybe possibly it could inspire your wardrobe. Tell me what you think on the boards. Signing out for True News. See you later, people. Okay. We're called the Artsy Knitter for a reason, right? Okay. So far, I've been hearing great feedback as to me showing, Ava and I as well, showing our artsy pieces. So as we sign out, I just want to quickly show you some of the things that, you know, I'm telling you, the things I do in my art influence my knitting. That's why I'm combining them. My fashion background influences my knitting. So, this is a 6x6 collage. That's an image. These are like pen and ink. Ooh. I gotta like make sure I start. There we go. I'm gonna try and put I'm gonna have a board that will have some of this up. Maybe so you can glance at it. It might be helpful. Sorry, I'm going up camera. This is a 16 by 16 collage as well. And it's, can't get it all on the screen. Let's see here. I think, I'm not even sure. This is the last collage I did in a while. I think I call her Lady of the Queen of the Dark Forest. I don't know. Very vampire-like, I guess. And I'll probably put, you know what I'll do? I'll also make sure that they're on my Instagram. Because you can come over there and check it out and see what you like. But that has, like, papers collaged together with, like, acrylic ink and, like, pen and ink. And I customize each piece. I don't know where they're going to go sometimes. I work and I just And sometimes if I feel like emotionally I need to stop, I'll stop and pull a piece aside and then bring it back again. But when I'm working on a piece and it just keeps flowing, I'll just keep going, and then there's a moment that'll come like a calm, and I'll be like, oh, it's done. So that's that. I'll break this up into like over some other episodes, but just a quick flash of my fashion photography. It's in a portfolio, that's why it's kind of super shiny. And people like this one. I feel like within art, even though I draw and I do collages, photography kind of is the thing that became my passion. I ran a fashion magazine out of Miami and here for 2 years, and the first 6 issues of this magazine called Stilo were, I did the graphics and I chose all the cover, I shot the covers but chose all the images and the runway section of like the highlights of ideas, fashion ideas. So this was one of our covers. She was like a beautiful redhead. It's called the Boulder issue. So, yeah, I just wanted to give you a little quick peep at that. We're 40 minutes and I gotta say goodbye. But just before I go, I think when we reach, I don't know if I want to, I'm like, if we reach to 50, I think I'm going to do one of these giveaways. My mom, we're working on some ideas, but she made these project bags. Look at that. I'm going to take some beautiful pictures and show you. One of these bags might be yours. I love these like, oh, gosh. I'm not sure. Definitely one of those two. And I have just some other ideas that I want to play out on these bags first before I start thinking about it. And then, of course, I have an Etsy account that we will have certain pieces on. And the last, which I love, and I'm like, I don't want to part with it. So gorgeous, the colors, the little house on it. It's almost like a little tree house, I think, that's on there. These gorgeous flowers. But I want to change like the drawstring in it, and you know. And summer's coming. Last, but sorry for that shake. Summer's coming, and as you know, I wear a bow tie for all my podcasts, and that's a thing that I just really love. It doesn't mean that I'm always going to have that. But when I wear my little summer dresses and I change it up, I was thinking, I want to make, maybe I just have it as a necklace. See? And then I made a little tiny one that maybe a little one she could wear or I could wear, both of us. So I sculpted these and made these, and I put the hooks in and everything. So these are my prototypes. One of these might actually be in our 50 members giveaway. But you have to do an intro, introduce yourself on the intro boards to be eligible when we reach 50 members. All right? So that means you're going to have to jibber jab and tell people about it and all this stuff. Right down there, there's a subscribe button for YouTube. Check me out. Come by on Instagram, chit chat. I'm on there every day, I think. But yeah, so next episode, we will have our usual guest star. A little one will be with me. And in the news section at the top end of the Ravelry group, I usually put the date that the next episode will be published, so that you know when to look back, what to expect. Because as you know, I won't be doing it every single solitary week, like 8 days. It might be a 10-day to 14-day thing, just like Dark Matter Knits. All right? But signing out, I want to encourage you, knit like a rock star, people. See you later, guys. Ciao.